in terms of where we see Europe going forward, it is recovering, and we are clearly seeing signs of recovery now, beginning timid and picking up in the course of 24. And our forecast for 25-26 is 1.5, 1.6% growth.
Well, that was the ECB President Christine Lagarde speaking in Washington at the spring meetings of the IMF and the World Bank. Now, Europe is watching as industrial policy in China and the U.S. threatens to leave the continent behind. That's the backdrop for EU leaders meeting in Brussels, who face tough decisions on keeping the region competitive. Now, let's get more from our very own Ollie Crook, who's on the ground in Brussels. So, Ollie, alarm bells ringing. Are European leaders hearing them, and what can they do?
Yeah, we hear about Lagarde and the European recovery and kind of the sort of immediate term. What they're really concerned with is the European economy in the much longer term, right? This is sort of a question of competition abroad from China, from the United States. And for EU leaders, it's easy enough to criticize China, to throw up tariffs on things like EVs and other sectors. But the question is, they also need to look in the mirror and figure out how to remain more competitive. And looking in the mirror, they might see a familiar face, which was, in fact, ECB predecessor Mario Draghi, who spoke this week in Brussels because he has been tasked with how to make Europe more competitive. Have a listen to how he summarized the issue.
China, for example, is aiming to capture and internalize all parts of the supply chain in green and advanced technologies. The United States, for its part, are using large-scale industrial policy to attract high-value domestic manufacturing capacity within their borders. We are lacking a strategy for how to keep pace in an increasing cutthroat race. It requires us to act as a European Union in a way we never have before.
And so Mario Draghi, Mr. Whatever It Takes for Europe, what it takes right now is radical change. And that is what is being discussed right now by EU leaders. They've gone into the discussion, and they were discussing a report that was written by another former Italian Prime Minister, Enrico Letta, who put out 147 pages with detailed proposals on how to make Europe more competitive. And really it focuses on the single market, because Europe is not going to outspend the United States. It's not going to be better organized when a top-down approach is China. What it needs to do is have a stronger economic union. So that means he wants to see joint borrowing for defense spending. It means a capital markets union so that capital can freely flow into these companies. The question is, of course, Francine, as ever, the politics. There is resistance to joint debt. There's potentially some room to make that progress on the capital markets union, and all of this ahead of the European election.